Hey everyone, I'm DT10 and in this video I will be reviewing and showcasing the TARDIS Refined mod for Minecraft 1.19.2. So I'm a little bit late to the party with this one for reasons I will explain in a future video, but you see I've wanted to do a review of this mod ever since I first heard about it, but I wanted to wait until it was out of the pre-release stages. This has now happened, version 1.0 is now out and you can find a link to it in the description if you'd like to download it for yourself. Anyway, if you end up enjoying this video then please consider subscribing as we're on the way to 3,000 now, and with that out of the way, let's get started. And here we are inside of the mod. Now, not much looks different for now, but if we go into the inventory, you can see there's actually a page 2 full of some new items. So I've never actually played with this mod at all, so consider this a bit of a first reaction as well. I'm also going to try and cover everything there is in the mod, which is why I've got a changelog open as well, but yeah, apologies if I miss anything during this review. So I will return to this creative inventory a little bit later on, but I'm actually going to try and follow this a bit chronologically. So the first thing you're going to want to do when you're inside of this mod is you're going to want to find yourself a root plant. So these are what you need to start making your TARDIS, and they are found deep underground, I believe. Yeah, okay, Fulbright might have been a good idea for this one. 1 second. I haven't recorded a video in a while, okay? Just give me a second.
One eternity later.
Right, so as I was saying, you need to go deep underground, particularly underneath an ocean, where I am right now, or underneath a mountain, and find yourself one of these. So this is a little structure containing the root plant, and as far as I'm aware, there's no way to actually locate them, for example, using the /locate command. I did have a little look through the list of things you could locate using the command, and it didn't seem to be there, and I also had a look at the /TARDIS Refined command, but there doesn't seem to be anything there either. But yeah, you just need to find yourself one of these, and then if you look inside, right here is your root plant, and around here there's also some magma blocks, which give you a clue as to what you need to do next. So, once you've acquired your root plant, you need to place down one of these, a magma block, and then you place the root plant on top of it, and it will make that noise right there, signifying that you've done it correctly, and it will start growing into your TARDIS. Now, this does take a very long time in game, however, it can be sped up using /game rule random tick speed, so I'm going to do that now. And as you can see, as soon as I set that random tick speed a bit higher, it starts growing very, very quickly, forming this. And there you go, that's it done, and that is your TARDIS. So you can just head on inside, but if you do, you will notice that it doesn't really look like a TARDIS. In fact, it looks just more like a random cave. So yeah, one of the really cool things I like about this mod is it tackles getting a TARDIS very differently to some other mods. So in a lot of TARDIS mods, the challenge is actually getting the TARDIS block itself, and once you've done that, you can pretty much do whatever you want with it. Whereas this mod tackles it quite differently. It's relatively easy to get your hands on a root plant, and then all you've got to do is wait, and you've got yourself a TARDIS. But it doesn't resemble a TARDIS at all. In fact, the actual work that you've got to put in is turning it into something that can travel through time and space. And that's where this next block comes in, the terraformer. So if we head over into just enough items over here, you can see that this is how you craft the terraformer. 4 iron ingots, 2 glass panes, a block of redstone, a block of emerald, and then a daylight detector. And that gives you this terraformer block. However, if you place it down right here, you can see it doesn't actually do anything, and that's because there's something else that we need to do. If you go on over into your inventory and grab yourself some copper blocks, 8 to be exact, and then a redstone block, you need to place them in a very specific shape inside the TARDIS like this. The 8 copper blocks need to surround the 1 redstone block, and then you place the terraformer on this block. And fingers crossed, and there we go. I managed to get it to work. I'm not sure what's happening the other time, but yeah, as you can see, you get some amazing visual effects and sounds. Now, this is something which I really, really like about this mod. It manages to make everything look really, really good, but we'll get to that in a second, because as you can see, it's kicked me out of the TARDIS, and now it's going to keep making some really cool noises, and the terraforming process will begin. So I believe this can take around a minute, so we'll leave that going. But yeah, as I was saying, what I really like about this mod is it manages to add assets that feel really, really Minecrafty. Everything looks like it fits into the base game, but some mods fall short in the sense that they start to look Minecrafty and then just look low quality. But I think this mod blends high quality assets and textures and amazing sound and animations and everything with really fitting into the base game. But yeah, as you can see, while I was waffling about textures and stuff, our root shell has grown into an amazing looking TT capsule. And once this noise stops, we should be good to go inside. So you can open the doors just by right clicking, and by the way, I believe this mod is actually completely compatible with the immersive portals mod, which means you can get an amazing looking bigger on the inside effect. I haven't got that to work quite yet, but I'm hoping I would have managed to fix it by the time we get to the end of this video, and I'll be able to show that off too. So without further ado, let's head inside, and here we are inside our TT capsule. So it's a pretty nice looking build. Obviously they've gone for the roundel effect using the new frog lights, which I really like for some extra decoration, and yeah, overall it's a pretty simple build. There's a little monitor over here, as you can see, but yeah, overall I really like it. So it's mostly vanilla, but obviously you've got the console, which we will get to in just a second, as it has some amazing controls. But first of all, I'd like to explore the rest of this TARDIS, because obviously I'm a builder myself. I like looking at the build details and everything. And I believe if we head through this door, yeah, there's a lot of really cool custom stuff behind here. So first of all, you've got this amazing looking custom door. And if we go in here, I assume this is like a little bit of like an airlock kind of thing. So I believe if we wait here, yes, look, you get some amazing sounds and particle effects. And then once we've sort of been depressurized, is that a word? I'm not really sure. We can head on through to this bit. So this is really cool. I assume this is if you want to expand your TARDIS, but this is really, really big. So this is a custom block right here called Growth Stone, and I believe if you go into survival mode, yeah, you can't break this block. So as soon as you try to break it, it just sort of spawns back. This acts a bit like your bedrock, signifying that you can't go any further in this direction. However, this Growth Stone is a little bit different to bedrock in the sense that you can craft one of these, a growth drill, using 3 iron pickaxes, some cobblestone, 2 iron ingots, and some redstone dust, and this will actually remove your growth stone. So all you have to do is right click, it's got a little cooldown, and you can mine through it, which is pretty cool. So something to bear in mind is that if we head into spectator mode, obviously this entire dimension, I believe at least, is actually full of this growth stone, because if we head into creative, as you can see, I'm just inside the block. So if you do want to do any TARDIS expansions, you might struggle a little bit in the sense that you have to mine out all of the space. But personally, I think that's quite a cool little system in the sense that you can't just build off into the void. You actually have to think about conserving resources and crafting more of these growth drills, and sort of thinking about how big you want your expansion to be. And speaking of spectator mode, if we head back into it, obviously we can see what's beyond these doors that don't really open. I'm not sure why they don't open. Perhaps that'll be fixed in a future update, or maybe it's just me being silly. But yeah, as you can see, there's one of these rooms, which I believe is the ARS room we see in the 11th Doctor's TARDIS. However, instead of there being a big tree with all the lights on it, we see this little sapling. And I assume this will be, yeah, ARS leaves, which it doesn't let me place, and I assume, yeah, ARS saplings on some mangrove roots down there as well. So this is a nice little detail, and then on the other side, you've also got a bit of an interesting room, which actually has one of these terraformers inside it, which I guess saves you crafting another one, which is pretty neat. But yeah, there's not much else to this room other than I really like the decoration, particularly the use of these iron bars and chains and everything. It looks really, really cool. I'd also like to explore down this staircase because this looks very interesting.
One eternity later.
And after a very dizzying few seconds, it's brought me down to another door that doesn't open. Okay, so coming back into the main section of the TARDIS, let's now turn our attention to one of the main parts of this mod, which is obviously flying the TARDIS. So, oh wait, door toggle. Hold on. Oh no, that just opens the door. Okay, I got excited for a second. Right, anyway, so let's pull down the throttle. And there we go. We are in flight. So I'm just going to turn that sound down a little bit. So as you can see, you get some amazing looking particle effects coming out of this console, as well as some little smoke ones here. And then you obviously get all the animations. Oh gosh, it's beeping at me. I don't know what to do. I did not do enough research before doing this video. I'm just admiring the textures and stuff. The amazing spinning rotor and everything looks brilliant. Anyway, the particles... Oh gosh. My screen's shaking. I feel like I've done something wrong. Okay, I'm going to press the increment button because stuff's coming out of here. Okay. Yep, that's fine. Direction. Yep. Alright. I think it's giving me a tutorial. That's I will go back over here. Door toggle. Whoa. Okay, what's it telling me to press now? That one. Yep. I'm loving this. This is amazing. Okay. It stopped the rattling. Yeah, I'm still in flight, but it stopped the rattling. That's good. Okay, so now it's telling me to press this one over here. And then I assume, do I just need to push the throttle again to land? I think that's it. We'll give this a go and see if it works. I can hear a landing sound, so that's good. I wasn't really paying attention. I was sort of just terrified that it was shaking everywhere. But I have a feeling I did actually randomize the coordinates. So fingers crossed. Nope, I clearly did not read the flying manual. Okay, I know I said this was going to be a bit of a first impressions video, but I also don't want this to be a really unprofessional video, so I'm going to take a little bit of a closer look at these controls, and then we'll see what we can do. Okay, so I think I've worked out what I'm doing with this console now. I think I was just jumping ahead a little. I was right in the sense that you have to press all the buttons where the particles appear, but you have to do it until they stop, and that is called a flight event. And once you complete that, you'll then be allowed to fly the TARDIS properly. So if we pull the throttle like this, it will start a flight event, and I've basically got to be really accurate with my pressing and press them whenever they appear, otherwise it will do that horrendous shaking bit loud noise thing again. Okay, so there you go. I've done that. It made a nice little noise, and now I can increase my increments and everything. I can set some coordinates like this, for example, and then all I have to do is land using the throttle like this, and we'll come into land. Perfect. It's one of those things that's actually a really clever system, but you just sort of have to know what you're doing at first before you launch yourself into it. And then if we head on outside, as you can see, now I have completely changed position. In fact, I seem to be in some sort of massive cave. But that is far from it with this console, because there's loads of other features that I've barely even looked at yet. So first of all, you've obviously got the door toggle, which we mentioned earlier, which opens and closes the door. You've also got this over here, which can change the dimension that you want to go to. However, something which I think is actually very clever is that you can't go to the end until you've defeated the Ender Dragon. So you can't sort of skip there and get your hands on loads of elytras and stuff. You've also got this right here, the computer bank, which shows your GPS, which is where you are right now, and your destination. So obviously in flight, that will show you where you want to go, as well as the dimension and everything. It also does the external shell configuration, and this is how you change your TARDIS exterior. And there's a lot of different exteriors here, which is really, really cool. So we'll take a look at these in just a second. Then you've also got this button right here, which I assume will change the TARDIS interior. And wow, that's a really, really cool animation. That looks amazing. So yeah, you've got all of these different types of interiors. So copper will obviously be your 11th, that will be your 12th, that will be your 13th, and that will be your 10th. They're a little bit out of order. And then I'd love to have a look at all of these, which we will do in just a second. And then you've obviously got the coordinates, you've got the randomizer down here, and then you've got the increment thing, all of which we used previously. Direction is obviously pretty self-explanatory, and then the only one I haven't talked about yet is fast return. So I presume that you can press this and it will just go to your last saved location, which is pretty cool. So overall, I really, really like the way they've chosen to do this console. It's very, very detailed, which is amazing, and you do have to be quite precise with it, which sometimes can be a bit annoying if you miss it and cause the screen shake and it to go into one of those flight event thingies, but overall I think it's done really, really well. The one thing I think would really make this feel more immersive is just for random little things to happen if you press the other buttons on the console. It doesn't need to actually do anything, but just, you know, pressing this and have it whirl around and make a little noise would just be so incredible and would really just add to the experience. But yeah, that's just me wanting to press every single button on here and be a little bit sad that it doesn't do anything. But yeah, overall I love this console. And while we're here, there's actually a lot more we can do with this console. So if we go into our inventory, we can grab ourselves one of these, a console configurator. And this is, as with everything in this mod, craftable because it's completely survival friendly. You can craft it with this recipe right here. And once you grab it and place it on the floor, it will show you a hologram, and you can flick through to see all the different consoles this mod has. But the other really cool thing it does is that if you place it right next to the console like this, and then click on it, it will actually change the console itself, which is amazing. And there are so many different options. So this is obviously the 13th, this is the 11th, this is the Coral one, this is the Toyota/12th Doctor's one, this is the 8th Doctor's, and then this is a custom one, which looks absolutely incredible. That is also a custom one. that is another custom one, which looks incredible again. And then we're back to the original factory default. So I think personally, models that are bigger than blocks can be hit and miss in any mod, not just Doctor Who mods. Because sometimes if they're high resolution, they can just look really out of place. And if they're low resolution, they can just look a bit bad. Like, it's often just better to place regular blocks. But I think in this mod, they have done an incredible job with the console. And they're so pixel consistent. So you can see right down here, there is the size of a pixel on the actual block, and there's the size of the pixel on the console. It's pixel consistent, which means they're exactly the same size, which basically just makes it look really, really Minecrafty. I think these really fit in, and that is what I love about them. I will go out there and say, these are by far the best consoles I've ever seen in a Doctor Who mod. Just in general, I absolutely love them. But I'm not going to play with them all right now, because we'll do that when we take a look at the TARDIS Interiors a little bit later on. So while we're still in the TARDIS, we'll take a look at another block, and this is the Flight Detector. So the cool thing about this is, as it says, it detects when you're in flight. But the reason that's helpful is because if we go into flight right now, and we go through the flight event that will spawn, then as you can see, it doesn't really look like it's doing much. But if we grab ourselves some redstone, this will actually be powered while we're in flight. So you can actually have other stuff happen while you're in flight, which is amazing. For example, the immediate use as a builder I can think of for this is you can hook up redstone lamps, which will turn on and start spinning or something as soon as you enter flight. And then obviously once you come out of flight like this by pressing the throttle, the redstone signal will stop. And there you go, it stopped as soon as we landed. It's a really neat little device, and as with everything in this mod, obviously it is craftable just like this. A pretty basic crafting recipe. There's just a few more features to look at before we then have a look at all the TARDIS interiors and exteriors, one of which is the TARDIS key, which is a very simple recipe, as you can see here. It's supposed to be very easily obtainable, and all you've got to do is bind this to your TARDIS by right-clicking on the computer bank with it, which you can see it gives a message key bound to, and then the entity tag of your TARDIS. The way you summon the TARDIS is not just by right-clicking on the ground with the key, as it is in other mods like the Dalek mod. What you actually have to do is craft yourself one of these, a landing pad. So this recipe isn't too bad, as you can see, and then you just place this on the ground and right click with the TARDIS key, and it will make a little noise and hopefully summon the TARDIS. And here we go, it's appearing in front of our very eyes, which is just so cool. And by the way, there was a little showcase of the rematerializing and dematerializing animation, which obviously you often don't get to see because you're inside the TARDIS when it's happening. So another little cool feature of this is if you've got multiple TARDISes, you can actually shift right click on this block to switch between them. So obviously right now mine is just going to say that constantly because I've only got one TARDIS, but that's the way you can change the TARDIS you want to summon, so you can have multiple TARDISes for one person. So obviously the practical uses of this are pretty much endless. You just place one at your base and then you can summon your TARDIS there whenever you want to. The only other item accessible from the creative inventory which I'm yet to have a proper look at is the pattern manipulator, which is craftable like this. And basically what this does is you can place down a console configurator like you normally would, but then right clicking with the pattern manipulator changes how the console looks. So this is different. It doesn't change the model, but it changes the actual sort of texture of the console. So there's so many customization options. For example, this one is obviously the 4th Doctor's secondary room console right here, and then you can go back to your default. And you can do this, I believe, for almost every single console in the game, which is just insane. So the reason I waited until now to do this is because I'm now going to have a look at every single exterior and interior in the game, and I'm going to merge this with looking at every single console and console iteration as well. So without further ado, let's get going. So first of all, you've got the police box, and then as with everything in this mod, there's endless amounts of customization. This is your default, but you can have any of these different options as well. Then you've got the phone booth, which by default looks like a classic British red telephone box, but then you've also got a metal variant as well. You've got the Mystic one, which I guess goes with the console we saw earlier, which looks really cool, and you've got a Dwarven version of this one. You've got the Present, which I really like, and you've got a cardboard variation. That's actually very clever. I really like that one. You've got the Drifter one, which has a very interesting design. You've got a vending machine, absolute classic. You've got a briefcase, which has a few different versions, actually. Right. I'm not even... A groaning? a groaning one. A lot of these are probably references, by the way, that I'm just not going to understand. And then you've got a Big Ben one, which looks awesome. And there's a Gothic version of that one. You've got the Nuka one. I think that's from Fallout, I want to say. I think I actually do understand that reference. You've got a growth one as well, which looks a bit similar to the shell one we saw while it was growing. A Portaloo and a Pagoda one as well. Very, very cool exteriors. And now for the desktop configuration. So we'll start with the Violet Eye one. We'll save that one. And then I presume if we just sort of head out and then back in, it will remodel itself. It's certainly making some noises, so we'll give it a minute. And there we go. The noises have stopped, so I think I'm good to head on inside. And let's take a look at this one. Ooh, wow. This is really, really nice. Okay, so this one comes with the 12th Doctor's console. That's quite interesting. We're going to do consoles in just a second, by the way. I will get to it. But first, I want to explore this place because this looks absolutely incredible. I don't know who the builders are. I don't want to credit anyone falsely. I know Plastic Straw is a builder on the team, but I'm afraid that's the only one I know. So please, if you know who builds one in the comments, please let me know because it's absolutely incredible. It's obviously got some little rooms back here and stuff as well. Yeah, this looks amazing. Oh, and I think I get why it's called the Violet Eye. I can't believe I didn't get that from the picture. Oh, that's a little bit embarrassing. But yeah, we've got a lot to get through, so I'm going to explore this in my own time. I won't bore you with all the details. Okay, so next up on the list, we've got the copper one. So this one's really, really cool. Obviously, it's the 11th Doctor's TARDIS. Very, very interesting design. Actually, it's quite similar. For example, this bit, I think, it's very similar to what I did in my 11th Doctor's one. Although this one is a lot smaller. And to be honest, probably a lot more accurate. My one was very, very large that I did in the tutorial. But I basically went all out with that design. Me and Neark did it together and it was a really fun time. But yeah, this looked incredible with the actual console model. This one might be my favourite model. I love how everything's just animated. I haven't had a look at all of them properly. As I said, we'll get to consoles in a second. But yeah, really, really nice TARDIS. Not sure how I feel about the stone here though. I don't know, it seems a little bit out of place with the rest of it. Anyway, we'll move on to the next one, which is the Toyota one. Again, this one is very, very cool. I really like it, particularly the use of the glass and item frames here. Although it really makes the chiseled stone being off-center obvious, doesn't it? That is horrendous. But yeah, really cool. Got some corridors behind here as well. Nice use of all the 1.19 blocks and everything, particularly down here and stuff. Yeah, really, really nice build. Okay, so I'm very excited for this next one, and wow, I was right to be excited. Instantly, that sky just captivates you. That is incredible. I really want to have a closer look at that in a second, but yeah, this is the Victorian one, aka the 8th Doctor's TARDIS. I love the amount of detail with all of the little custom heads and stuff. This looks absolutely amazing. The little garden back here as well, and I mean, wow, this sky is phenomenal. I have to have a proper look at this. All of these glass panes must have taken so long. And is this like a full-on galaxy going on here? This is honestly insane. I think this is definitely my favourite one so far, just for this sky. And I mean, the whole interior itself is amazing, but this sky just really sells it to you. Absolutely incredible build. I really like the console here as well, and I actually want to dematerialize with this one. All of them have console animations, but I'm really curious to see what this one looks like. Oh yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. One thing I would say I think would really help with sort of the immersion is different types of TARDIS door. Not necessarily a different item, but just a different texture for each interior, potentially under the same label, or some way to customize it or something, because obviously this default one can look out of place in some situations. Oh, okay, wait, ignore what I just said. I just had a thought. I was saying it in my head, and I was thinking, wait a minute. Surely it must be bound to the exterior because I haven't actually properly changed the exterior. I just showed you all on the screen. Okay, so that's an incredible feature that I'm so glad I didn't miss. So I've just changed the exterior to the police box one, and now I've got police box doors. And I assume that means there's ones for every single shell. Yeah, there's actually doors for every single exterior. Okay, that's incredible. The attention to detail in this mod is unlike anything I've ever seen. I could not sing high enough praises about it. Right, so next up we've got the Nuka one, which obviously goes with the corresponding exterior. And yeah, this is a pretty cool one. I'm going to have to go through them a little bit quicker now, otherwise we'll be here for ages. But yeah, this one's a little bit smaller, really nice interior. And that's the door that would go with it. Yeah, that fits a lot better. I'll be sure to change the door for each one from now on. Oh, wow, okay, so this is another completely custom one, which is really, really cool. I like this. It reminds me of the design I did for my War Doctor and then 9th and 10th TARDIS tutorials. It looks really cool up here. But yeah, this is a custom one called Future Nostalgia, so I'm going to assume that means it's sort of getting elements from all of the different TARDISes, which you can definitely see. I mean, that's the 11th Doctor's console. That, like I just said, is from the War and 9th/10th ones. And then it's sort of got pillars up here, which is sort of reminiscent of the 9th and 10th ones as well. These bits sort of remind me of roundels a little bit. Yeah, really, really cool. Oh, and there looks like there's a little bit of an under console section here as well. I love the use of mangrove roots here. It makes the TARDIS look like it's actually organic, the use of roots down here instead of sort of machinery or something, which personally I really like. I've always personally preferred a TARDIS which looks a bit more organic than one that's just full of machinery. Okay, this is the second to last one, which is the crystal one, aka the 13th Doctor's TARDIS. And this one is really, really nice. I absolutely adore this use of trapdoors and stripped wood. I think it looks amazing, especially with the sort of organic looking mismatched bits above it. It's missing monitors. I do actually think some iterations of this console room have monitors and some don't. It's also got this nice little walkway. The only thing I'm not too fond of in this one is the use of red sandstone. I personally think honey blocks look better and would actually fit this colour scheme a little bit more than the red sandstone. But obviously the benefit of red sandstone is that you can then use slabs, which I guess is what the builders were going for with this one. But yeah, overall, really, really nice build. The final one is the coral one, which we'll take a look at now. And here we go, and wow, okay, so they've clearly gone for the stair technique. So there's a few different ways of building the coral one. All of them sort of use redstone lamps from what I've seen, but some people prefer to just place the redstone lamps, and some people prefer the stair technique. I actually really like the stair technique, but I don't do it in my tutorials purely because it's quite difficult to explain and it'd make the tutorial quite long. But yeah, I really like it, and it's done really, really well here. I've also noticed some of the lamps are off, which is an interesting design choice. But yeah, I really, really like this one. It's got an awesome little walkway. It's got a nice little platform up here. The design of the pillars are really nice. Yeah, I love it. Oh, okay, and then your corridor entrance is over here, which I actually think, I swear this is in the show at one point. There is a weird little corridor entrance in just like one of the episodes over here. But yeah, overall, really, really nice interiors. And so the final thing to have a look at is all of the different consoles. So for that, we'll need the console configurator and then obviously the pattern manipulator. But now we can sort of have a look at all the different patterns as well. So wow, that's a really cool one. So you've got industrial, cool, and then the default one. Then we can have a look at the next one. I really like the wire choice, by the way, here. It looks amazing. So this one has an aperture one, and a blue one, and a construction one. That looks very... Whoa. Is that a moving eyeball? Is that a face? That looks like a face. Tell me that's not a face. And then obviously back to the default. And then the next one's the factory one. We already had a look at that one. We also had a look at this one. I believe this comes from the episode in Series 13 Flux, where the Master sort of seizes control of the TARDIS. That's an awesome detail. And another awesome detail I've just noticed is that these pipes and stuff actually move. Oh, and there's a hologram there showing the exterior. Okay, this one might be my favourite. This one and obviously the basic crystalline one. They look absolutely incredible. Look at the detail. Then we've got the 11th Doctor's one, which has a Skulk variant. Okay, that one might be my favourite. That is amazing. The use of the amethyst and stuff as well. And then we've got the one that is native to this interior, the coral one, which has a war variant, makes sense, and a blue variant, which also makes sense because obviously that's in the show as well. Then we've got the Toyota one, which I'm going to assume has a, oh wow, a violet variant. I was not expecting that. That looks like it has an amazing animation for the time rotor. Let's go into flight. Yeah, okay. That's really cool. Yeah, that's possibly my favourite time rotor animation. There's just something about that up and down and spinning movement which I really, really like. Anyway, we may as well stay in flight so that we can have a look at some of the other animations as well. So this is the Victorian/8th Doctor's one, and that's got a green variant. That's very cool. That looks like the Scream of the Shalka one. I wonder if that's intentional. It's also got a Grant one, which looks really, really cool, and then a default one. And then you've got, I forgot what this one's called. Is it I think it's the Mystic one. That's got a very cool animation as well. And that's got a Molten variant. That's very interesting. Very lava themed. And then the default one. And then we're back to the beginning. Overall, some absolutely incredible models. I mean, like I said, by far the best out of any Doctor Who mod I've ever seen. Hands down. So yeah, huge shout out to the team behind this mod. I know they've been working on it for absolutely ages, and please go and support them by downloading this mod using the link in the description. It's right at the top, and yeah, it takes you to the Modrinth page where you can download this mod for yourself. I'd highly recommend checking it out. So at some point in the very near future, I'm also going to be doing an updated version of my top 5 Doctor Who mods for Minecraft video, which I made last year, and that will definitely feature this mod, so look out for that. So my overall opinions of this mod is that it's a fantastic mod. I mean, I really like it. I would go as far to say that this is the best TARDIS specific mod. Now, I know that might be quite controversial because a lot of people are big fans of the new TARDIS mod, and I also think that's a really cool mod, but I personally think it's very complicated. That is better if you're a really hardcore Doctor Who fan and you're looking for it to be integrated into the world of Minecraft. I think this one does a better job at sort of simplifying it a little bit, making it really intuitive, but also with some really nice details, and making it fit much better into the world of Minecraft, which I think is a really important thing that all mods should focus on. I think if you're looking for a more all-round Doctor Who experience that doesn't just focus on the TARDIS, then something like the new TARDIS mod or the Dalek mod obviously would definitely be a good choice as well. But yeah, this mod is absolutely incredible, and I've really enjoyed this sort of reaction and review video. So if you enjoyed it, then please leave a like or comment, and if you'd like to see more content like this, then please subscribe. But I've been DT10, and I will see you in the next video.